but you have lost a part of you. When you have lost your wife, you don't want anyone to see you cry. So we ended up holding and bottling things up. Siyezindlini bese sithatha ama BA5 siwabeka la, siyaphuza bese sikhaliswa utshwala. Kanti no, akusutshwala obungikhalisayo. Ilento that is happening in my life.
Our fathers, they grew up being told ukuthi indoda ayikhali, a man must not cry. Even when they are happy now, bayasaba ukubonisa even ama tears lawa anganabuhlungu phakathi.
So ukuba strong is to use whatever you have in the right direction. Uzama uku-influence abantu, uba galvanize, baqhubeke baye phambili in all platforms.
As men, we're the one who are supposed to be driving this conversation.
Yeah.
The way women stand up and duke it in August. So we don't duke it, we don't cap it, we don't gin it, we don't dance it, we don't,
Welcome to my space. My life and journey is one of ups and downs. Life can be very challenging, but it's when we open up that we find our solace. Let's heal. Let's grow. Let's cry. And you know what? Laugh together. Welcome to Conversations with Mthokozisi. Your girl next door. Conversations with Mthokozisi, the girl next door. It's another episode, it's another day, but not the drama. You know we don't bring drama here, but if you want it, we can bring it. Sure. Let me start with saying thank you to all the subscribers and people who are like really sharing and viewing. I appreciate you. This is the podcast where I bring all the conversations. Again, it's a girl next door. So, somebody was asking me, girl next door, do you only bring women? I'm like, no, check it out. See, around me, arrows among the thorns. So it is November. Abanye bathi Movember. Somebody said November as in we're saying no. Actually, no new campaign. I feel Movember must remain as Movember because it's a big awareness about men's mental health. I'm feeling jitters. I'm feeling there's a lot of emotions sitting like here. And I don't know where they're coming from, but I think they will come from this conversation. So I'm having men in my life that others I met digitally. Others, they've been part of my life, big part of my life, I think, since the podcast or me growing into this space. And I'm so grateful that every time when I say, hey, I need you, and they jump, they will welcome again.
Thank you.
I know you are.
I'm not okay.
You're not okay,
you
see, but you are here. And I have my dad in the professional side of things, the PR. Like we are overseas, catwalk, but extraordinary. But I'm not going to go there. So he's my father, that side as well, professionally and spiritually. So this is, hey, Dad.
Hey, baby girl.
Mr. Sibeko. Victor Sibeko. Baba Baywit. Normally. And Umswati, finally, when I sometimes want to text you and say, hi, Babi. And I'm like, it says, hi, babe. I'm like, no, man. I want to say, hi, Babi, not babe. But Simbiza, oh, babe, Baba's Vego. Yeah?
Yeah,
and then Ngapha, thank you for joining me. And then Ngapha, I have Zenzele, who, sure, as a co-author, I think we need people like you. And with the background that where you come from educator space, ex-principal, and I think this time are so fitting that bring somebody who's giving a platform to people like us who are putting words down, having platforms like Conversation where you put us and group us together. And I thought, before I go to all the Eguruleni authors, let me have you here first. So thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
nice to be here.
Yes, author space. So you know when I saw your video, Togo, I was so touched. And for me, it was like, oh, this young man is talking about the things that I like to talk about, and you are calling everybody out. And luckily, I jumped ship from my ex-employer, and you were like, it is your problem. If you're not doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's you. It's on you. I'm like, thank God that you are saying this and I'm out. But that's for your motivation. I think we take WhatsApp status for granted, but they are a big platform, I think, now that people must use, because you didn't know that I consume, as much as I consume podcasts, but I consume your podcast. So here you have it. So men's mental health, and I will always year in, year out have this, but I want to have more, because I feel like as women, there's so much more awareness that happens around women, and we are vocal as women. Yes, we still feel that there's so many issues, be it GPV, anything else, that we still feel like women are not heard. But I feel like men are also not heard, and that's why we have both issues. I don't think as women out there and children will have so many issues if men's issues or anything that they go through also was outside. It was, when I was checking stats, GPV versus suicide amongst men, is shocking that it's the highest. And we're like, okay, everybody will look at, you are men are the cause. But again, men are going through a lot in closed doors. And that's why I want to have this conversation today. And thank you again for joining me. Sure. We're going to just dig deep on, we want to hear you. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear more from you, so that as women, we can really shut up sometimes and listen, so when you are talking, this is your space, share as much as you can. I'll ask maybe one question where each and everyone can just go in it, share your thoughts, and bring it home. Personal, because if we see you and I see, Baba Sibeko, actually, batindoda ikhali baba. Why batindoda ikhali? And are you the man, ileyo ndoda le engakhali? Where does that come from? So if as men out there, you've always grown up hearing this thing, indoda ikhali, and here you are today, the statement is still going on, and there's mental health, that you, because you are human, you have emotions. Let's unpack the indoda ikhali statement maybe first, just to open our conversation.
You?
But indoda ikhali.
I've always had a problem with that, to say indoda ikhali, and I think it's based on ikhalelapi. And when you ask the elders, they'll say indoda ikhali in public. So that's where it started, to say, when they say indoda ikhali, they don't want to see you cry in public. And that resonated with a lot of men that started saying, I don't want to cry. Because anybody that sees a man cry in public, they always see you as an embarrassment. So rather, when you have problems as a man, fela ka mogare o khumya ngwa ku toilet ukhale, that's why you see a lot of guys about toilet be bahlala 4 hours. Most of them were crying, and abaphuma bethe newspaper khona manje ama phone. So umuntu uphuma ngathi uhleki TikTok kanti they were going through the most at toilet. So I think they didn't want to see us cry in public, but they wanted us to cry. But where are we crying? Hence, even if you look now, as you say, the stats is we don't know where to cry to. We don't know who to cry to, because of we are not allowed to sin cry. You see, notationally now, mama wayo. I'll take that. A typical example: when you lose your mother, you don't want anybody to see you cry, but you have lost a part of you. When you have lost your wife, you don't want anyone to see you cry. So we ended up holding and bottling things up. Siyezindlini bese sithatha ama BI5 isiwabeka la, siyaphuza bese sikhaliswa utshwala. Kanti no akusutshwala obungikhalisayo. Ile nto that is happening in my life.
Sure.
Very, very important. I think for me, the point of departure is that Kamgabi is a statement. So, our parents, yes, are partly to blame for that. And we live in the world of time and change. And I always say you mark time and you leave no mark behind time. We've evolved over time. And we're trying to generation to say to our children, grow up, be a man, but at the same time guide them. But now we grew up at the time when we are told, what if you cry is a sign of weakness? And that is where the problem is. Because when you're immediately not as good as a sign of weakness, then if you cry, you feel good, you are weak. But because you're human, you're bound to cry when things are tough. Because there's nothing else you can do. Akukho la uzogijimela khona, as Ubaba puts it. So that has got its own effects. Yes, the statement may be well intended, but just like medication, when you're sick, you take medication, there are side effects. The side effects, now we end up with men who bottle things up, men who don't speak out, men who then take anger yabo through various means of being violent, of going for booze, and totally destroying themselves. A self-destruction path. That statement, very dangerous.
Sure, and we're all human.
Yeah, it is very dangerous. I would like to say maybe it's a sort of a stereotype, which comes from the societal expectations. And I think it's very dangerous because everybody's got this belief that if you cry, you are weak. You're a weak person. So men just have come to the realization that if maybe I express my feelings, that I'm sad, I'm hurt, it's going to send a signal to other people that I'm a weak person. You know, I love music. So there's a song by Brooke, is it Bloodstone, titled "Go On and Cry."
Okay.
Go on and cry.
Oh, yes, go on and
So
cry,
in
my
that
son.
song, the person who's singing there had some issues with his woman. So he was hurt. So he says, I went to my closest friend, my biggest friend, and confided in her. And my biggest friend was my mother. And if you listen to that song, when it says, my mom, you'll just understand that he was proud to have his mother. His mother said, go on and cry, my son. So your situation does not show that you are a weak man. So go on and cry until your tears dry up. So it's a very dangerous stereotype because if you don't cry, where are you going to cry? Where God created us with tears. All of us have got tears.
And all senses and emotions.
Yes, we've got emotions. So if you don't express your emotions where you're supposed to express them, where are you going to express them? That is the reason where we get some GPVs. Because the man finds an outlet where he's going to express his emotions, beating somebody, indulging in something else, maybe indulging. So it's going to result to manifest itself in other forms of crying. It's a cry for help. You're crying, but it's a cry for help, but in a wrong way. That's very dangerous. Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, that's why most people, hurt people.
Yeah.
So, the statement, but misunderstand that in two ways. And I think most people focus on crying in your tears when you're feeling pain and stuff. But we also forget to go see there's things like tears of joy. And because of that statement, that's why you find in most homes, most men are even afraid to show their wives and their families when they are happy.
Yes.
You see, you would watch a movie mnandi, maybe someone is winning a trophy somewhere, they've been struggling. You would cry in a movie like that when you see that person winning. I like movies like that.
Yeah.
And I always get tears when I watch a movie like that in the end. But our fathers, they grew up being told, a man must not cry. Even when they are happy now, bayasaba ukubonisa even ama-tears lawa anganabuhlungu phakathi. And that's the reason why I was reading a book by T.D. Jakes. Let's see, lose that man and let him go.
Oh yeah.
In that book, T.D. Jakes says, we as men, we don't die like women. We die quietly. We don't say a word. And it's because of these statements, lezo ukuthi indoda akumelanga ikhale. Yabona? So it's killing most of our men. That's why most women, when they attempt suicide, you'd find that they fail the first time. And a man, when he attempts suicide, he doesn't fail because he uses lethal ways. He makes sure ukuthi mangishale bullet la ngiyafa. Yeah. You see. So all those emotions are like ngithanda ukusho ukuthi ifana nani lento. When you fill a balloon with helium, we pump i-balloon nge-helium. Qhubeka lokhu uyipompa. Izokwenza nekugcineni. It will explode. So those are the emotions esiwakhipha ngaphakathi kithi thina esifela ngaphakathi now. So by the time lelo balloon lipamuka in a way of you committing suicide or you killing your wife and killing your family and stuff because you've been keeping things inside.
Sure.
You see. So we need to remember there's also things like my tears of joy. You can cry when you are happy. Yeah. But since saba nokukhala nomasijabulile because indoda phela This one ingoma quite ekudala bethi emakhala njalo uzokhala kuze kube yabona so mara kodwa sometimes mawuthi indoda ayikhali sometimes it also means because that's in two ways. Bengi understand ukuthi bathi mabathi indoda ayikhali unokubona banokusisho yabona when a man is always complaining when you are always complaining about life ukuthi hey life is unfair why umunye aphumelela mina ngaphumeleli those types of complaints can also apply to indoda ayikhali because sometimes in situations like that that's when you have to become a man, that's when you have to man up kahle face impilo yakho and take 100% responsibility because ngiyathanda ukuthi mina you are responsible especially uma umdala indoda you are responsible for who you are and for where you are today. Isikhathi solo complain ublame abazali bakho asikho. You see because ubaba umuntu manje my mentor once said we sometimes forget ukuthi mawukhula you used to say I had a poor background. But now you don't realize ukuthi you are the background. Your kids are looking at you. Hey, and you are their background now. What are you going to do about that?
It?
Yes.
Sure. I didn't introduce you guys deliberately because I want in your spaces, you are comfortable being here and having these conversations with, and it doesn't start here and it didn't start here. I chose you because in your various areas as authors and you're a speaker and you're not an author, but no book yet. But your life is a book with just that good is not recorded. And with Iplomanate out there bringing all these stories, so you are also a storyteller, but storyteller. But you will tell us a bit about you so that we give another background, so that we can go into why did you start the foundation Gents Let's Talk, coming into your story as a gent that felt like we need to talk. Background and
my background is Tebogo Majokana. I'm a lover of radio, I'm a lover of music, I'm a lover of media, so I've been in the media space for as long as I can live. I've loved music from the days of Bob Mabena on radio. So I've always been that guy that wanted to be on radio, to be honest. And my story started with when my biological never bothered. I always said that. And I was raised by a man who said, I'm going to take charge and give you my identity. So Majokana is a surname from my stepdad, somebody who stood up and said, I'm taking you with me. And the other part of me is ngumntana festive. I always say this to people, only balbamba Patrick festive because I was born in September. So I'll beg at the Russia festive. It got to her, but she was a teen. So because when she had me, she was only 17 years of age. So it shows her bambambila whatever and was a teen. And I always said that she could have aborted me. There's two things that at 17 you could abort, leave me as bedlele and see whoever takes care of me and not bother to see me leave. And I was not fortunate to live for her to live long, for me to see the sacrifices zakhe, because at 33 she passed on. And when she passed on, I found myself with two guys, which is my uncle and my dad. And both those guys never even asked me one ukuthi awuthi ulidal seko unjani uluze grot isister lakhe uluze image yakhe. But there was never a moment where we sat and said, how are you doing? And I saw my dad just moving from this guy who had Mediake. You know, when they had couple goals, when we go out, they will wear matching outfits, and you're like, you know what, these are Bangani, but you know, the age that they did then and the 30 are now is two different age groups.
Yeah.
And when my mom passed on, I could see this guy just going down. And he would sit, I corner, and I still remember corner the same thing, just for what we've changed the house, where every day he'll sit there. And that corner, funny enough, it was a corner that was looking, a kitchen was looking a bathroom. So that's the corner where you see umuntu akayo washizitsha, umuntu akayo yenza izinto. But he used to sit there, and you could see that this man is not there because he wants to be there. He's somewhere. But nobody came to him. I'm a siblings wakhe, and everybody, nobody came and said, oh, grand. And even me, nobody came to me and said, are you okay? And even my uncle, losing my grandmother and my mother the same year. So it means me and him had two people that we love that we lost in the same year. Lost my mother, he also lost his mother. But when I decided to go on the journey, my gents, let's talk, is because I asked myself to say, how many Tebogos are out there? How many of my dads are out there? Because this is a guy that never drank, started drinking. This is a guy that never drank coffee or tea. And I still ask myself, when my mother was alive, this guy never drank tea. But as soon as my mother passed on, this guy's got tea. And as tea, is this the tea of memory to my mother? Because my mother did drink tea. But pooze. And he started drinking tea. I'm like,
Yeah, sometimes.
and he started losing a bit of him because of the person that grounded him was not there. And I said, Hore, how many men are out there that are broken? Nobody's supporting you. So you've got a family, but nobody's even coming to you and say, how are you doing? And nobody came to me and said, Tebogo, how are you doing? I found myself replacing my mother with being a very naughty young boy. You know, when you don't have that motherly love, you're finding love in
Everywhere.
a lot of stuff. I tried athletics, which I loved. I did soccer, which I loved. But I was that guy that was always looking for love. So I always never saw myself without a relationship. So I wanted a relationship in every corner of my life. But that was not me, but that was me looking for love. As you say, we're not allowed to show the emotions that we are missing. And one of the emotions that I was missing, was the motherly love.
Yeah.
I love that old man because he gave me the fatherly love, but I didn't hug between them and hug. You know, that's one thing that we miss. I love you between me and my dad, but if my mother was alive, I would get that I love you. I would get that big hug. And he will sacrifice what he sacrifices silently because people must not see how bad I'm affected by certain things. That's how I started Emergence Let's Talk, to say, let's meet as men and engage. But one of the conversations was, our pains are not pains as adults. Our pains come from our childhood.
Yeah.
So mine was from my childhood. And I said, I don't want to see other boys suffer from the pain that I saw me. And it changed me to be a man that I didn't like in my 30s, but I took a stand in my 40s and said, I'm going to change my life.
You know what I like about you, the other time when we're talking, that we always focus when we talk to young men when they are Oshupayo, I think you'll come in from the educational space, when you know that young boy, Oshupayo is schooling and all that, and the focus is on that young boy. And we forget about the boys that excel, that are good at home. We ignore them because we are pasa, they are good, they're doing everything right, and we never even think about themselves and their emotions, because they do well. And there's also issues in doing well because everything you need to excel all the time. And there's pressure. And I like that you take it there and you always encourage parents to say, no, I don't want the child that you say they are naughty. I want all the boys out there.
You're right, because a lot of, maybe there's an educator here, a lot of parents, when they call us, they'll never say my child is an A child. They'll only say my child is an F child. So I want you to help me with my child because my child is not doing well. But we forget to this boy might be doing well because of pressure. You know, there's nothing that you'll do, you'll deliver.
Yeah.
But the minute basusi band and emvu, when you get to tertiary, that's where most of us lose it. And I was saying, I've started a talk now to say I'm not focusing on 15 to 19, but now I want to talk to 20 and 35 because that's a space where aksana mvubu. But it's where we lose it. We start drugs in our 20s. We start alcohol in our 20s. We get our first salaries in our 20s. We start misusing money in our 20s. And nobody's talking to us because the results I was getting, they were not my results. They were my parents' results. because my parents said, "Uze ufeile." You know that line from parents? Uze ufeile. If you take your child to a school where you're paying 14,000, 12,000 a month, the one thing you say, should you dare? And that child is not proving himself for themselves. They are proving for you. That's why most of them, when they get to tertiary, they change 3-4 courses in a space of 2 years because they haven't understood themselves. But academically, my parents made me to study. That's why uthola umuntu umfundisile for 200,000 a year bese uyocula kwaito. But dude, the 200,000, I didn't see you going to kwaito. I thought you will go into medicine, but that's who he wants to be, not who you want them to be. I doubt if I can ask my dad today if he saw me in media, he'll say no. You wanted me to be a doctor, but he failed to get me that space.
On what you're saying about the belt and being able to study on your own and stuff. But I mean, it was different for me because no one was there for me like that. I was studying alone. Nobody checked my homework. They didn't even know what was going on in school. So I had to push myself because I understood ukuthi I don't want to live this life siphila la ekhaya because I saw ukuthi mawungafundanga kwenzakalanga. I didn't even go to tertiary, but today I'm writing books. And I only studied when I started working at Bidvest. I used to work at Bidvest. I resigned 2016. So when I worked there, they were offering a program. If you want to study something, here's the money, you can go study. The only time I've been to university was when I studied at UNISA. And then I studied digital marketing. And then I also studied a 6-month course in insurance and another course in generic management. And I've got certificates like this.
Stacks.
Of different, some are short courses, some are formal education. So because I didn't have that thing, there was someone who would say, I was pushing myself always. That thing I'll show you would see today is because of our experiences as children. I grew up up to a point with even now I can sit and read a book in a day and finish it without anyone pushing me because I want to do it. You see?
Yeah, Mthokozisi, now I'm gonna come to you. You have a book called The Imperfect Father. So you did that from yourself. You pushed yourself from the young age. But what happened, what was happening around you to a point whereby you knew that you needed to depend on you to do everything for you? Because environment teaches you who you're supposed to be or you're gonna be, and you're not supposed to be groomed.
Yeah.
But how did it start for you to know, Guti, I have me as a man? When did it start? How old were you for you to have that? You know why I'm asking that? Because we have young men, and us, I know mothers, that's why I want us mothers to just sit down and really relax. But we are the ones who push so much our kids to become or to be or to. Fathers are different. Fathers, yes, they have high expectations, and it will be like principals and teachers. That relationship whereby read, do this, is like struggle. But Tina, we push to a point whereby we even want to shape how you greet abantu abadala, how you serve endlini. We push kakhulu as, but if there was not that, how did that came about?
Okay.
And then your background. With so many books, goodness.
Okay, I grew up between two small towns, Perdekop and Forecrest.
Yeah.
They are close to each other. Perdekop is my father's side of the family, and then Forecrest is my mother's side of the family. Mr. Mazibuko knows because he frequents those places. So, growing up at Perdekop, that's why I like to say I grew up between the two places, because there was a point where I stayed at my father's side, and there was a time where I stayed at my mother's side. And the reason I'm going to tell you now why, up until I started writing and being this guy that I am. So, Perdekop, my father's side, I was staying with my grandmothers. I was raised by my grandmothers. My father was working here in Joburg. My mother was also working here in Joburg. But my mom, at least every now and then, she would come and we would visit her during school holidays. But my dad, we only saw him once per year, or sometimes never. And every time when he came home, he would come with a different woman. So, abomamncane every year, unomamncane omusha. So I started, I think I was 10 years. 10 years I was washing my own clothes. I was cooking. I was making fire in Baula and stove, samalahle. Ekhaya besikhulele endlini yodaka. Yabona ePerdekop. So every morning my grandmother used to send me to buy alcohol for her. Every morning. Before I go to school. Sometimes I would go to school barefoot with no shoes. So there was a time where I started realizing, good no, man, there's something wrong here. Because sometimes I would do my neighbor's garden and she would pay me with a plate of food because there was no food at home. And then sometimes I would look after someone's cattle.
Lusa, yeah.
Yeah, herding cows, yeah. So I would sit there and then umkhulu wami ubaba uMngomezulu beyangibhadala nge-5 liter yebisi makaceda ukusenga. Yabona. So these are the stories most people don't know about me, and I'm probably sharing this for the first time here. So one time I took my sister, I think I had passed grade 3 or standard 3 1.
Standard 3
Yeah,
grade.
before
Grade
my-
one.
Yeah, before my grade was.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Grade
I have
5.
Oh, grade
seasoned.
5.
I have seasoned
So-
people here, I tell
So
you.
I took my sister, I took my school report and took my sister. I was young, my sister is older than me, 2 years older than me. I was able to convince my sister, no, we need to leave this place.
Sure.
Let's go to a forecast and stay Kabo Mama. Ngiyazi Mama is not there, but if they call Mama telling her which we are there, we are refusing to come back this side, she would leave her job and come stay with us. And that's exactly what she did. You see. And then my aunt came to fetch me because schools were about to open. I refused. I said, "Ngamane ngafund. I'm not going back that side." When my aunt came, I would run. Then she would leave alone. And then my mom came, and then she got my school removal. And then, okay, fast forward, years later, my dad came back. I think I was staying with my mom that time. It was 1999.
Yeah.
Then he came to ask my mom if he could take us to go stay with him. When I had this resentment towards my dad from Semncane.
Everything that you've seen.
So when he came, and I was quiet. You know, Muto Tulile is dangerous.
Yeah, you do look quiet. I know you talk, but even your facial, you look very quiet.
It's very quiet.
I can see that you are Mthokozisi.
I was very quiet. It's because I developed these skills about Toastmasters. But when my dad came, I didn't want to go with him. But being born situation with my mom, I was about to go to high school in the year 2000. So I remember I said to my mom, "Angifuni ukuhamba nalo muntu."
Sure.
I said lo muntu.
Not even, yeah.
Angifuni ukuhamba nalo muntu. But because ngiyabona ukuthi nawe uyasokola uyahola uma 700, I think asebenza a domestic worker. One. I said because lo muntu uyasebenza,
Mara.
he can take care of us better, but I don't want to go with him. But I will only go for that reason. Ukuthi ngikwazi ukufunda. As soon as I finish high school, I'm coming back. You see.
Sure.
Still young, I think I was 13 that time. Then my mom agreed, my sister agreed, and then we came to Joburg. And then my sister fell pregnant, and my dad kicked her out of his house. Because now, uyabona as a man, if ukhule ungathathanga responsibility as a parent to take care of your kids,
Yeah.
uzobalanda sebakhulile sebadala ufuna ukuhlala nabo. I mean, I noticed all of that at my age. Ukuthi, okay,
So
this
you're
guy has
paying
not been there.
attention.
Now ngoba sesibadala manje he's coming to fetch us because manje the burden yokusinakekela sesikwazi ukuzenzela izinto,
Yeah,
it's
it's
easier now.
different.
That's why when my sister fell pregnant, he kicked her out because now my sister was going to have a little baby.
And he needs
Lo
to be responsible
angajwayelanga
as well.
ukumphatha esandleni sakhe. Yabona. So the only solution was for him to kick her out. Then we were left with my younger brother, sahlala naye ubaba. Fast forward again, 2009. I think I had finished matric. And then I finished my matric 2004. Then 2009, I got a learnership as a Bidvest.
Yeah.
I think I was earning 1.8 at that time, but with stipend, it was not even a salary and
Salary,
stuff
yeah,
because it was
yeah,
a learnership program. So I thought, okay, I wanted to go to school, but I saw this guy
He's not gonna help.
I wanted to do like actually media studies, things like this.
Yeah.
I would tell him ukuthi I want to do sound engineering because bengithanda vele ukwenza music. That was my escape, like ukubhala ingoma
yes.
and stuff. And then 2009 he came with another girlfriend. He had left us for like 2 years. Me and my brother asebenza eMpumalanga, my construction company. Then he came with another woman as I'm introduced futhi. And at that time I was old now. I was out of high school. And that's when that balloon and ngayo started exploding. We were sitting around the stove, ngiyakhumbula, him, my brother, and that lady. Then he said something, you know, when you keep emotions for a long time. Then he said something that was a lie. And I remember me, I'm angry. I've been robbing with this
For a long time.
We are home, uthomela girlfriend yakhe. Yo, yazi mina abantwana bami ngibenzele everything. My kids are smart, my kids this. Yo. Ngabe ngathi bosenzela kuphi lento leyo baba.
Sure.
Wathi ngathi no, mina ngikhumbula ngesikolweni ngihamba ngenyawo. Bona ukuthi bothengela icathulo manje. Mina I remember I was wearing my cousin's shoes. Tana ka auntie. I was wearing ama school shirts wabo mangiyesikolweni. Ngokangithuma every day ekseni, you were not there. I think it's time manje ukuthi uface iqiniso. Because abazali bethu ngithi they also grew up with this thing ukuthi umntwana is not allowed to talk back to umuntu omdala. They see it as a sign of disrespect. Wakwata naye ke ngaze like ibhaluni bekalithatha lapha qhuma naye, and then you know what he did, even the worst thing, because he disowned me and kicked me out just like he did my sister. You see, so I even made him repeat that thing 3 times. Ukuthi athi phuma emzini wami. Ngithona sozibona ngathi soyindoda wena. Phuma emzini wami. Ngathi awuphinde futhi wathi phuma by 3. Ngithi yazi maba racist abantu bathi on your mark, get set, ready,
Go.
was for you go. Ngathi okay, no problem. Ayikho inkinga baba. Phuma emzini wakho. And then ngamlinda zathi weekend bakuphela inyanga hola leyo 1.8 time stipend. I think he was working on a Saturday. He left to work. Then I took a suitcase yakhe. Thathi impahla zami. Ngihamba ngayethembisa ayigole room le 700. Then that's when again my life started as Mthokozisi on my own. And I remember I walked into that empty room with nothing but my bag full of clothes.
So is that the Imperfect Father book stems from?
No.
Okay.
Instead of the Imperfect Father book, I wrote this one.
Okay.
Step out of your comfort zone and start living your dream.
Uh-huh.
But this one, this is how it started. It was a speech in Toastmasters where I was telling this story I'm telling you
same
now of how my father kicked me out and disowned me and what I learned from that experience, because it took me out of my comfort zone, because now I was alone. I had to
And then you
face
needed to
everything
do anything.
on my own.
Sure.
Because I remember I would bengphanda so
Yeah.
as time went together, then I realized, okay, this story. But my dad 2015 passed away.
Okay.
Got sick. But there's a video that I shared recently about forgiveness and forgiving your parents for whatever they did, because you're not doing it for them, you are doing it for you.
yourself.
So I was relating it to just this story with my father. So then I realized, the imperfect father, Norman Cousin says, the essence of man is imperfection. When I saw that quote, I started thinking, even though my father was not present, there are certain things he did as good. But even though there's a busy outweigh the good ones, but I chose let me accept as human beings, we are not perfect. He was not perfect. He was only human. He did what he did because of what he knew then. He did what he did because of what he learned from his own parents, because his father was also not present in his life.
Sure. Yeah, that is so
just
deep.
to comment on what you've just said, that ran into my head. You walked into that room.
Yes. Empty. There was no finish.
You walked into that room filled with hope.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Because hope involves a desire for positive outcome and an expectation.
Yes.
It is possible.
It's possible. Because nakona is because of how I grew up. Because I grew up everything is Zenzele. that inspiration and motivation bengizinika mina
Yeah.
from a younger age.
Yeah.
Based on that, yeah, I'm also shivering. So based on that, because why I was digging into how you became independent and you continued, I think your story says a lot about you as Mthokozisi, one as a person before as a man, and everything else that you've seen. So your mental capacity from a young age was shaped with, you saw all the negativity, but they came back positive, and you always strived for positivity, even though mental health now, where we are, how can we then help other men understand that in the negative space, you are still able to fight back hope and be able to do better for yourself, not for anybody else? Because better for lawyer sisi. You know, so your mental capacity, what do you think was happening with you where mentally you were very strong? You
Not
didn't
always.
kill yourself, you didn't
Not always.
you didn't go your robber. You know, so what if you can just
Not always, because there was a point where I almost thought about committing suicide. But at the same time, because I also had that thing yokuzikhuthaza futhi ukuthi, because my dad had a gun. And he had taught me how to use the gun in case yena angekho endlini. And I had access to that gun. I once sat on a table with that gun here in the afternoon and me, thinking, how can I just, because ngiyafana mos life ndasihlangana. Yabona, at that time futhi I was unemployed, ngiceda isikolo, akwenzeki next. Yabona. But then that's why I said, there's a thing I said, which I loved music. So I was writing something that was meant to be a suicide note. And I was writing it in Zulu. And the first part I was talking to my mom, because I used to also write poetry and stuff. So I was writing it like in a poetic format. Like Nkosi mhlangfayo ngicela uthule. Yabona, ta 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 ta. Yabona. But you know what happened to that thing?
Yeah.
Ended up being a song. I turned that into a song called Mhlangfayo.
Oh.
It's even on Spotify. I played it, I think last week on Spotify, because I had kept that song, because that song actually is the one that saved me.
Oh wow.
Because after writing that song, I had 3 verses. One was talking to my dad, and the one that was talking to my dad was filled with a lot of hate. So I deleted that one.
Yes.
So that's how. But mostly, if anyone is facing things like that, nento abantu abangayiboni abangayinaki futhi. Yabona ifana nokuthi mawungathi you want to become a certain individual in your life. I will keep quoting TDJs because I used to watch a lot of TDJs videos back then, even during those times when it was difficult.
hard.
I would watch his sermons.
Yeah.
Sermons about stepping out of your comfort zone and what. There was a sermon where he said, sometimes in life, you need to find someone who sees in you what you don't see in yourself.
Yeah.
Yabon. So 2015, my father passed away 2015, and 2015, that's when I met my mentor, Velindaba. And that guy, you see, because my dad passed away just a couple of days before my birthday. And then towards June, I was still working at Bidvest that time. I participated in a Toastmaster speech contest because I loved these things, public speaking and writing. It's also my skill and talents. And participated in that speech contest, only to get there
And
then find somebody who had written a book called You Are Born to Win. And then I did a speech there, which was, I titled it Push Until Something Happens. And I was using a pregnant woman as my metaphor for inspiring the audience, because it had to be a humorous speech. At the same time, you need to make them laugh in between.
Sure.
So I was competing against white people there, and then I got the first place.
Oh wow.
And then that's when Velindaba, who's my mentor now, who I'm working with full time now, saw me, and he just gave me his business card, showed me his book, gave me his book that day, signed it for me, You Are Born to Win. And then I asked him, because I was busy writing this book, but I was still working. I said, I was thinking about writing a book, but I never thought that you could self-publish a book. I was thinking about how can I get a publisher and stuff.
all of those.
After seeing him, I started seeing, oh man, this thing is possible. I can do it.
Sure.
So then he gave me his business card, invited me to his office, and then that's when everything changed for me. And then he played that role that my father was not playing up until now. He's been my mentor, I think, for 10 years now.
Sure. Baba Sibeko?
Yeah.
This men's mental awareness month, there's so much that I feel, and I'm glad that we're bringing conversations about your lives and who you are and the stories. And I hope people out there can pick up on the mental capacity of a human being. It doesn't matter what you go through, but it's possible. Whatever you seek, seeks you. Whatever you need, needs you. So you'll be able to rise above, anything. So in the PR space, you are PR. Yes, you even run our institute. You ran our institute for all of us PR practitioners and all that. And the advocacy around these awareness months. You will see January, okay, I don't know what January is. Your February, we have your whole Valentine's. Then you have your June, when is your... I have love-hate with June because you have your Youth Day and your Father's Day and your,
We take in as the youth as fathers.
and you know how you don't even know how to even celebrate it, but you will see Youth Day will always then surpass everything else and any other awareness or around us embracing fathers. Then you move May, Mother's Day. It feels like Mother's Day, it feels like Women's Day in any case. Okay, then the Easters and all that. Then August. August is a whole vibe. Even most of us and booking speakers, women, we are out there, we are busy. But November is there, the whole mustache. But nobody, yes, it's like hashtag maybe Kati Fest.
That's it.
But these conversations are not. So in terms of advocacy and making sure that all the other other months and awareness months, we go out, there's noise around it. Men and being strong and men's mental health that we know is there, but we're not talking about it enough. We talk possibly as women because maybe we suffer if you suffer. But men still go back and stay in the knowing very well. That's your month. What do you think is an issue where men don't get up and say, we are here, we matter, our mental, emotional state matters, and you're going to hear us, and our voices will be heard? Why do you think in the space we in, media and all, there's no noise around men's mental health?
Well, I think it takes us back to what we spoke about when we started.
Yeah.
We don't talk. As men, we're the one who are supposed to be driving this conversation.
Yeah.
The way women stand up and duke it in August. So we don't duke it, we don't cap it, we don't gin it, we don't dance it, we don't, Again, Tata, just one step back. But you are men are hunters. And women are gatherers. It explains it. You gatherers. Women's Month, Mother's Day, you there. You push, things happen. A hunter is a person who goes into the bush. It has to be quiet, because if you make noise, you're going to disturb my target. And I don't want noise. And given a chance, I can do it alone. All the better. Because if I'm with a second person, it might disturb. And if I do have the next person with me who disturbs, then say we. It's the nature of the beast. As men, we're not really out there, except for now, lately, we are coming out. We've got Mthokozisi, we're writing books. We've got Baba, who is an educator in that space. We've got Budu, who started a movement to mobilize men. Even so, I'm in the same space. We youth development. I'm in the same space, in a brotherhood. There's a tavern, I have Woolly on Tuesdays.
Oh, okay.
So I thought, I roll it on Tuesday, but no booze. Let all the men come. Let's have conversations. At a time, like a Habula church.
Yes.
So the problem is that we as men, it's still that thing of we don't speak out, we don't seek advice. We can sit as men like this, have a conversation the whole day. Hey Joe, hey bra, hey cow, but we don't know each other.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
We don't know each other. We're talking about the soft things, but we don't go deep.
Yo, that car.
Yeah,
Hey, that's-
exactly. Yeah.
Yo,
Soccer, that
the
match.
sound.
That match. That OC, that OC, that. Yeah.
Yes.
So in the spaces Kuyo, first I must commend you for stepping up and doing this, and the other gentlemen that we have here who go out and start such conversation. But we need to be more aggressive. And for us as well, we shouldn't wait for November. The same thing I say with Valentine's. Don't have to wait for Valentine's to tell you how loved on you I'm turned. It's a commemoration. You are reminded to go to Valentine is a month of love, though it's not about love. There's a lot happening.
Yes.
So with us in the space of population and communication management and advocacy, we need these platforms. And once again, we're grateful for this platform having been created. And for the gents in here, I'm grateful that we're doing this. But we have to call out to all other men out there to say, guys, it's about time we stand up. We can do it for ourselves.
Yeah.
Because if we don't, we bottle up, there's a helium balloon getting
Gonna
inflated.
explode.
And when it explodes, it affects a lot of people.
Yeah.
So we really need to own up.
Yeah.
And we really
Campaign
need to
it.
step up.
And campaign
We
it.
really need to campaign it. And the more, the merrier.
Yeah.
But if it's only a few of us, it's just a drop in the ocean. You're only able to catch the few men in your area. And again, as men, we also have a problem. Why you're a man, you're coming up with the ideas. You get up when that's a problem.
That's a
Yeah,
lot.
uzenza ngcono. Don't think akhuluma ngento zami nawe.
Uwe,
Ubani wena.
That's lazy.
Oh, listen.
Kanti we need to overcome that. That's one thing we need to do. And given a chance with this platform, with these men here, come November next year, in fact, umsebenzi uqala now.
Now. Yeah.
Umsebenzi uqala now ukuthi we've got to break barriers. I have a philosophy of life. If I want something, I knock, and you don't open, I break the door.
Down.
So it's going to be a very difficult task. But I think we must also start it in Makaya.
Oh, yes.
That is where it must start. We must start speaking this language in Makaya. Ngubaba wabafana, and what you said, mama will influence abantwana to pursue a career, and Obaba will watch and will say, kahle kahle ufuna ukwenzani? Yabona usuyabheda ke manje, ayakhona, sela or sela.
Ulalela umamakho le nto ze beauty yani.
Yes. So as Obaba, the advocacy, I think it should start even in our household, and we should also go back to getting our young boys review that statement. So ukuthi into ayikali, speak out. That's what we need to push for. Our boys don't talk, and this time I'm worried, gents. I think we're heading for a much more disastrous time because our kids lock themselves in their rooms.
Yeah.
Play with their
Hands and play with their phones. And they're bottling up, and what they get out of there, they consume a lot of things. Some of the things that are out there are not what we have to. So you have to have a policy like in my household. Maglewa, phone, no phone. We have to sit on the table, we have to have a conversation. And you can see them getting uncomfortable, sitting like that. Getting
But it's
bored.
better day.
Even when we go on holiday, first question, is there Wi-Fi? So we've got a lot of work to do.
Advocacy at home.
We've got a lot of work to do, and I hope this program or this conversation we're having will start opening up more of this type of conversations and getting more people to read. Oh, we beg our children and other men to read.
Oh, yes.
we have to read. Guys. I mean, for me, I know you can read on here and the phone, but there's nothing as beautiful and that has the smell of ink in the book.
I am sitting next to somebody who, when you talk books, I think he can feel it. But Zenzele, I know as an ex-principal, that's a big job, because now you have teachers, you have learners, and everybody that you need to carry is, as a principal, also as a man, and shaping you are, as much as says but we somehow led ukukhulisa kwabantwana and giving guidance esikolweni, not curriculum. Maga esikolweni ayofunda ukuba better. And you will also tell us about the platform, Eguruleni Authors, where you got to a point whereby you had to bring everybody together, because it's stories and conversations that I think isuge somewhere, and with the role that you've been playing of taking care of the masses, where your role is leading everybody else from teachers to the learners. We talk about being strong. I know women, they like the imbokodo thing, which I don't know what does it mean. I've never been in Bogoto, and I don't want to be one, because I'm not a stone. But then, I don't want to be used as I'm not hard, I'm soft, I'm feminine. But there's this thing of being strong, and if you're strong as a man, that you need to lead so many different variations. What does being strong mean to you now, in the spaces you've been, and in the spaces that you are creating now?
So sisikhuluma nginidi ukuthi wherever you are, ngikhumbula sisahambe i-SEM khona inkulu saselicula lithi right in the corner where you are. So I believe ukuthi there's a role one can play wherever that person is. So mangabe uku media, you can excel in media and bring such conversations to more people. Usesikolweni, you can do it. Eguruleni Authors, you can do it. So mini message yami is strength engibonayo. Sometimes strength is cabanga ukuthi umuntu ufale abe yabona manje muscle.
Makhuma ngendoda bese that's why ube yindoda, like, but why is like
kanti u strong ukusebenzisa lokhu ikhono uNkulunkulu akunikeze lona ulisebenzise effectively. So ube ne vision in whatever space you are in, and try to make sure that you influence abantu in the right direction. So mawukhuluma nge-teaching, ngikhumbula ukuthi sisaqala ukufunda sa trainer nasema colleges, we were told ukuthi uthisha uyiyonke into, uyi-social worker, uyiphoyisa, manje nje sebangamamanji kubanjwa amalentuzana ama-disciplinary ekolweni. So there's something eyenzekayo ekolweni ukuthi ufundisa abantwana, especially let's talk about abafana. Ukuthi abafana ibona abavamise ukugqama ngokuba stowed ekolweni. And thola ukuthi lo mfana ostowed akayi ukuthi ustowed. Mhlawumbe futhi most of the time abantu abastowed esikolweni kuba abantu abastrugglisha emaklasini. So uma uthi uyayilandelela kahle lento uzothola ukuthi ufuna la azovelela khona, avelela khona.
Notice me.
Ngibone sasine esikoleni sasinama leaders, ama prefects. So one day sathi asenzeni kanje, lo hlupha kakhulu noma ngabe uyastrugglisha eklasini, ake simnikeze opportunity yokuba leader. What a difference. Waba disciplined umuntu, wenza izinto ezi-right. Ngamanye amazwi le anger pusha ufuna ukunotiswa yayisuka ukuthi mina ngibonwa ngezinto ezimbi njani. So ukuba strong is to use whatever you have in the right direction. Uzama uku-influence abantu, uba galvanize, baqhubeke baye phambili in all platforms. Jobe khuluma kanjena umtho. Siyawadinga abantu abakhuluma izinto ezenzeka. Most of the time we hide our situations. Ukuthi ngibuya ekhaya linjani. Ngiyakhumbula sisakhula bekuthi mina ngakhulela eKZN bekuthi mawusu eKZN mawusula eJozi usaba ukuthi ubuye emaplazini kukhona leso stigma
Yes.
ukuthi ibhale uyabona so izinto ezifana nalezo you must be proud of who you are. You don't know ama experiences odlule kuwona are making you a better person to lokuthi umuntu those experiences odlule kuzona zikwenza waba strong.
Different version.
So if we talk such stories abantu bazizwe and very few people have responded to difficult situations njengomthu.
Yeah.
Most of them basemajele and uzoquota i-experience efana nekamthu asho ukuthi my father disowned me, umama wami bahlukana kwenzeka ABC. Very few people akhuluma ukuthi in the midst of all that I came through and this is who I am. I made it. So we need to use even our weak points lapho sihambe kabi khona so wenze sibe strong asebenzele kuyo.